Hello everyone, welcome to our video lecture in IT Professional Elective 1, which is Virtual Systems and Services. In this video lecture, we will discuss Linux Mint operating system as a live CD running on VirtualBox. A Linux Mint is actually a derivative of Linux. There are hundreds or thousands of derivatives around in the internet, and one of the popular Linux version is the Linux Mint. Okay, and is this is an operating system. Okay, remember that an operating system is a system program. It is very important program in the computer system. Why? Because it manage, it supervise hardware resources. Okay, it is the one that act. It is a program that act as an intermediary between a user and a computer. So in order to use a computer, of course, or in order, for example, you want to play games, or if you want to do browsing in the internet, you must have an operating system installed in the computer. That is how. That is why operating system is very important in a computer. And we will use this operating system, Linux Mint, as a live CD. When we say live CD, um, it just start the computer without installing on hard disk. Okay. Ordinarily, traditionally, if we want to use an operating system, we install it on hard disk. Okay, but this time we will just use the image file, the ISO file. Okay, we will not be using the hard disk. Instead, we will be using the ISO file. Then it will boot up the computer. It will start up the computer. Then it will display the graphical user interface of that operating system. So that's the idea of the live CD. And in the previous lecture, I have mentioned the VirtualBox. So a VirtualBox is a type of hypervisor. Okay, a VirtualBox is an open source made by Oracle. You can download it free. It is a type of hypervisor that manage or supervise uh, virtual machines. Okay, so in a virtual system, there is a term virtual machine. So when we say virtual machine, this is an abstraction uh, entity or object of a real computer. So you imagine that a real computer has many parts or has many resources, okay, like a keyboard, mouse, and so on and so forth, like CPU, memory, and so on and so forth. Tangible computer, okay, physical computer, okay, a real computer. So, and also has an operating system. Okay, now the virtual machine is actually a program. Okay, it is actually a software that is reside, okay, that is at the top of another operating system of the real computer. Okay, so a virtual machine is a sometimes called the guest computer or guest operating system. Okay, the real computer is the host computer. Okay, so if we want to go on details about that, you can watch our previous video about virtual machine. Okay, and the VirtualBox in our previous video. Okay, so in this video, we will discuss on how to download the ISO image from the Linux Mint website. And also, once we download that ISO and then save it to in the desktop, we will create and we will configure a virtual machine using VirtualBox. And then after that, we will try to start or boot that live CD, okay, using that ISO image. Okay, we have downloaded. So to download the image file of Linux Mint, go to web browser. fire up Google, then type the LinuxMint, the term LinuxMint, then the information appear on the screen, and then you just click download link, okay, and then it will appear on the website about the download information. And actually, in the latest version of Linux Mint is 20.1, and in this case, in this demonstration, actually I've already demonstrated uh, earlier. I've downloaded version 18, and the graphical user interface I use is the XFCE. Actually, there are three types of GUI of Linux Mint: the Cinnamon, Mate, then XFCE. Okay, so XFCE, you choose the XFCE. Once you download it, you can in this case, I have downloaded and put it on the desktop, okay, and then the around 1.7 gigabyte, okay, of file size, okay. So that is how large that image file. It contains a lot of system files and other resources of that operating system, okay. We will not burn it to actual optical disk. Uh, uh, because our idea is a live CD on a virtual machine. So, okay, so we will just use that file only. Okay. So our next step now, we will open. Okay, we will open the VirtualBox. Of course, once you download that VirtualBox from Oracle website, you install it, then try to open it, double click to try to run it, then it will appear the main screen of the VirtualBox, then the simple screen information there like new settings, start, and so on and so forth. Now, to create a virtual machine, you just click this button, new, okay, there, then new, and then next is a prompt, not a prompt, actually a dialog box that contain prompt. That is where you specify the name of the virtual machine, okay, or the name of operating system on that virtual machine. In this case, in my case, previous creation a while ago, I created actually Linux Mint 18, but which I actually installed it on hard disk. And another is I created a virtual machine that has an operating system, a lower version of Windows, which is Windows 7. So in this case, we will create another virtual machine, but we will not be installing it, but we will just use as a live CD. So here we have to specify the name of operating system, okay, and that prompt. So I have here type Linux Mint 18 demo, okay, and that prompt. The next important option here is the memory size of the virtual machine. So the important thing here is that the more memory in that virtual machine is the better, but depending on the memory of the host computer. If your real computer or real laptop computer has greater memory, let's say for example 12 gigabyte or 16 gigabyte or 20 gigabyte, you can specify here more memory, okay, depending on the host computer memory. So in this case, in my laptop, I have a 12 gigabyte of memory. So since that we are experimenting a live CD, we can specify here around 2 gigabyte of memory of that virtual box, okay, of that virtual machine rather. So you can navigate it by sliding that that slider, and then or you can type 2 gigabyte here. So this 1024 MB here represents as 1 gigabyte. So if you double that one, you that makes up 2048 megabyte. That is 2 gigabyte. Okay, so 2048 megabyte is 2 gigabyte. Okay, so here I have typed 2048 as a 2 gigabyte of memory of a virtual machine. Okay. And the next dialog box is the hard disk creation. Now, our idea here is a live city. So there are three options here. So the first option is do not add a virtual hard disk. Okay, so in our purpose is that we will be doing a live CDOS. So we will click the first option. Okay, the first option. Okay. The second and third option, if in the second option, if you want to install the live CD or the Linux or any operating system on hard disk, you have to create a virtual hard disk. Okay, that is the second option. So the third option, if you have already an existing virtual hard disk, use the third option. For example, I've used virtual machine, box before in other laptop. Then I've back up it already and put it in some storage media. But I want to reuse it. Okay, I want to reuse it to another laptop, and then you copy that one. Then you want to continue again that operating system. Okay, you can use this third option if you want to use existing virtual hard disk. Okay, so in our case we will just choose the first option, the for live CDOS. Okay, so once you click the create, it will appear on the screen continue. So there's a message there, you're about to create a new virtual box and so on and so forth. You just click continue. Okay, so in the next step, now once you click the create or the continue there, it will now add at the left pane a virtual machine. Okay, at the left pane. So a virtual machine is now created. At the right side is the specification of that virtual machine. As I've said in the previous earlier, that a virtual machine has also a specification or hardware resources. Not actually hardware, has also resources. Like it has memory, it has acceleration, this information, it has display, it has storage, it has audio. With this Linux Mint 18 we have created a while ago. Okay, and you just click this one. Okay, and then the next step is this configuration, the storage option here. So in the storage option, the purpose of this one is we will specify now, we will load up the Linux Mint ISO image to the optical drive. So we just click this storage option. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, not a prompt, actually it's a dialog box appears that specifying, this is when you want to specify or you want to load the downloaded Linux Mint image file, then put up on a optical drive. You just click this icon, this option, then select this button, then this option, choose a disk file. Then once you click that option, you search that image file, okay, Linux Mint image file ISO, and then click OK. Okay, so this step actually is where you specify the ISO image file and load up to the optical drive, okay, of our virtual machine. Okay, so next step is once you click OK there, we have now our files there now. It is loaded, okay, or it is activated. Okay, it is ready to use. So okay, that. So once you click OK, the next step you will going to do is the clicking the system here option, the system. So this system is where you specify the boot order. When you say boot, starting of a computer, okay? So by clicking the system, it will display this order. So the first item displayed there is the floppy. Will not be using floppy because somewhat obsolete, the floppy drive. We will be specifying, or will be choosing the optical drive here, then by clicking the up arrow there, okay, to so that the optical drive will be the one to boot up, okay. So there, and then once you click the optical option there, then clicking that up arrow, what you will see, the optical drive is the one will boot up during startup of the computer, not hard disk or not floppy or not not the network. Okay, so that's the order of the live CD. It should be the first item to boot up is the optical drive. Okay, next is the once we click OK there. There are actually two main configurations here: storage and then system. Okay. The other options here, general display, you just ignore those. Those are advanced topic. Okay. So, and these actually informations are very useful in starting the operating system. Okay. Now, we are now ready to start the live CD, Linux Mint live CD, by clicking this start button. Okay, by clicking this start button. So the next is uh, once you click start, it will now display the main screen boot up, okay, for the Linux Mint operating system. So start Linux Mint by pressing enter key. You just wait a few minutes or seconds, then because the operating system will be loaded to the memory of a virtual machine, it will read all the resources, all the informations needed, all the necessary files of the ISO image. Then once it is done, eventually the graphical user interface of the Linux Mint will display on the screen. This is now the main screen of Linux Mint. As you can see in the screen, that there are buttons there are menus, there are icons, and so on and so forth. And the same thing when you are using Windows. You can browse internet, you can play games, you can do chat, you can do word processing, and so on and so forth. The same with Linux. Okay, so imagine that we have created a virtual machine that has a Linux Mint operating system. So we have in our host computer, in my laptop, I am using a Windows 10, and we have experimented, we have opened a live CD Linux Mint. So meaning I am using two operating systems in my host computer, Windows 10, in the guest computer, Linux Mint. Okay, and you can do experiment here. You can do networking, you can do programming, and so on and so forth. So this is the essence, okay, of a virtual system using a VirtualBox. Okay, so this video is about starting or configuring a live CD on a VirtualBox using the Linux Mint operating system. You can also do with other operating system. Okay, the procedure here, the steps here are the same with other operating system. Okay, for example, if you want to experiment with other derivative of Linux like Ubuntu, okay, or Red Hat, or I want to experiment the operating system of Mac OS X, since that Apple computer is quite expensive, which we can't afford it, okay, very costly. you can experiment there, here in the VirtualBox. Okay, so at this point, this video end. I hope you've learned something regarding the steps on starting a live CD Linux Mint on a virtual machine using a VirtualBox. So until the next video, um, so thank you for watching, and of course keep safe everyone, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, salamat.